Okay, so I rarely do videos, but I thought that this was something really important to share, especially with the recent sort of violence against women incidents that have been talked about on the news, with the missing young woman named Gabby, and then there was also a young woman in Florida who was murdered by her a maintenance worker that worked in her building, and then there was another story that I heard about of a young woman in Atlanta who had been dating a guy for like 3 months, and he murdered her in her apartment. Um, so yeah, I'm really trying to get more involved on talking about women's safety, especially when it comes to dating and relationships. Um, and I should have prefaced this with saying um, I watch a lot of investigation discovery, a lot of true crime, 40 hours type stuff. So whatever I'm about to tell you, I mean, take it how you will. But I definitely want this to be a, I don't know if I'd say like a warning, but just something for women to be more aware of when they interact with people, that there can be things, ulterior motives, things going on that you may not recognize on the surface. But when it comes to your safety, even if things feel a little off and you can't quite put your finger on it, that's enough for you to acknowledge that something's going on and sort of remove yourself from the situation, or to no longer engage in the situation anymore. So this is, I guess it's like an ongoing thing, but I never really noticed, I never really paid attention to it. So I live in a small apartment complex in here in Houston, and it's pretty small. There's not a lot of people. Usually people just mind their business. On the side of the building where I live at, there's not many people that live here. It's maybe me and two other people, and that's it. And then there are some people on the bottom, but I don't see a lot of people, out and chilling and moving around. So I don't know if it's not, I don't think it's like full occupancy. There's not a lot of people going in and out. I don't see a lot of people, just hanging outside their apartment or anything like that. People usually just mind their business. So I get packages not very often, and usually it's the same packages. And I've gotten them delivered by the post office, FedEx, UPS, Amazon, just different people. But I order from Target, and I also order from this company that makes like personal care products. And so I set up with a delivery service with them, and like every 6 weeks they reship out my package. And I think it's Target and this other company, and they usually ship with UPS. And I've never had a problem with delivery people. And I didn't notice anything until maybe like a month or two ago, when I was like, this is weird. So usually when I get a package, they either leave it outside the gated apartment, or, well, no, not outside. They usually leave it right inside the gated apartment. So I guess they just slide it through the gate or slide it under. And, if they don't have the code, that's what they might do. They just like slide it through the gate. Or they'll leave it by our mailboxes, which is on another side of the building, or they'll leave it in front of the door. Now, when they leave it in front of the door, they'll usually knock. Let me turn this TV down. I think it might be too loud. So usually if they leave it in front of the door, they'll knock. By the time I get to the door, nobody's there. Because, they're delivery people. This is their job. They got stuff to do, other places to go. They're not trying to linger around here and wait for you to answer the door, because I don't get anything that needs a signature confirmation. This is stuff you just drop off. If I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not, I'm not. And so I started noticing, I guess pretty much during the pandemic last year when I started working from home, that there'd be this one guy. He works for UPS. I would get a package, and at first, I just wasn't paying attention. I wasn't catching on. But he would knock on the door, and I would go to the door. At first, I would go to the door. I would thinking it's just someone else. And so I would go to the door to get the package because I didn't want to leave it out there. Somebody coming through when the gates open, they stealing the package, or it gets wet or something, or it gets stepped on, kicked around, whatever. I wanted to get my package and bring it inside real fast. So I opened the door, didn't look through the peephole or nothing. Don't be like me. I didn't look through the peephole or nothing. I just opened the door, and I'm thinking there's nobody going to be there because they done dropped off the package, and they running off to get back to their truck or do whatever else they got to do. So I opened the door, and he's still there holding the package. So I'm like, what are you holding the package for? You don't need confirmation. You just drop it off. And so I never say anything else to this guy. I would just get my package, say thank you, and shut the door. And I would just notice that, looking back, I was like, he's kind of lingering around here just a little bit too long. Because first of all, you don't need me to, you don't need a face-to-face handoff to drop off my package. Like, you don't need that. So why are you lingering around here? And then I believe this was last year. I noticed one time I had gotten the package, said thank you, and I'm turning my back to, as I'm walking away from the door and closing the door, and I look over my shoulder, and he's like still like checking me out, like he's still standing there in front of the door. So I was like, okay. And so, like I said, it wasn't until maybe about a month ago that I was like, this is kind of weird. And I don't know if it was just the stuff that was going on in the news and I'm just being more in tune, but this is just something just to tell you, just to be more in tune, because it's weird. Like, it's not enough for me to file a complaint, I feel like, because we don't actually exchange any kind of words. I've never had a conversation with him. I just say thank you, take my package, and literally just shut the door. And if he's still standing there, he's just still standing there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you're waiting for. Like, I have nothing to say to you. And so, yeah, like, I didn't really notice. And then I was like, well, no one else does that but this one delivery guy. Like, no one else does a face-to-face handoff. Like I said, they'll knock on the door all fast. Before I get to the door, it's maybe like 1 or 2 seconds. They're gone. Like, they're not waiting around for someone to answer the door. They got stuff to do. And I was just like, what are you doing? And so I was like, okay. Once I noticed it, I was like, next time someone knocks on my door, because I don't usually have any people knocking on my door. If it is, it's maintenance or whatever from the apartment. And they announce, they'll be like, knock on the door, and they'll say maintenance loud. So I know who it is. So no one else, I don't have visitors. No one else comes over my house. So the next time it happened, I was like, well, you know what? Next time it knocks, I'm going to go up to the door, look at the peephole. And if it's this delivery guy, I'm not answering the door. I'm not opening it. I'll wait till he walks away, open the door, and get my package. So lo and behold, the next time it happens, it's the delivery guy. And so I looked at the people, I see him, I was like, okay, this is this guy. I'm not, and I go back and I sit down at my desk doing my work, go back to what I was doing. And then he knocks a second time. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go back up to the door, and it's like, it's still him. He's knocking a second time. So I'm like, what are you doing? No one else, no other delivery service waits for someone to come to the door. Like, they don't have time for that. They got stuff to do. And I was like, what is going on? So I literally stood in front of the door and waited till he left before I opened the door and got my package and locked the door back. And I was like, so since 2020, last year, I've been working from home. So he comes during like, you know, work hours. So I'm like, he knows I'm home at this point. And I'm just like, it's just so weird because I'm like, what do you, I hope y'all don't hit my stomach growling on camera. But I'm just like, what are you lingering around here for? Like, I'm supposed to strike up a conversation with you, and for what? Like, I don't want to. I don't need you knowing where I mean, you already know where I live, but like, I'm not trying to interact with you and have some disgruntled guy that's trying to deal with rejection, and now he knows where I live. So I don't know if I should file a complaint or whatever or not. I don't know if it's enough, or if it's just something I should just bring to the company's attention and be like, hey, you got this employee, he's being a little weird. Just tell him to drop the packages off and go. Maybe I should just say something like that at this point, but to not get all into this. But it's just really, really important for women, especially at the times that we're in, and there's a very much more visible, the visibility of crimes against women it's very high. So we're able to see in which the ways that that these different things are happening to women all across the world, different races, different walks of life, different income levels. It's crazy. And you guys, like, it's so important to really just pay attention. And because this, I mean, I didn't really put too much thought into it until it was like, like I said, since I've been working home and I've been here to get the packages, that's been happening since 2020, and I didn't really pay attention. I didn't really notice any kind of patterns. Just kind of just mindlessly going to the door, get a package, getting it, closing it. It's kind of like I'm sort of in the zone and not really paying attention, but just to really, really, really emphasize the importance of paying attention to what's going on around you, and sort of noticing patterns and acknowledging that you're not being paranoid, or you're not overreacting, because usually when something feels a little off and you can't quite put your finger on it, that's like the first warning sign that something is going on. And that's usually most often when people ignore it, because it's not something really strong. It's not something that's like really in your face. It's not blatant. So it's usually what people ignore. In the big scheme of things, we usually don't notice those little things, the little things that just make us feel off. Or if we notice it, we just kind of like blow it off, because as women, we're used to, we bring something like this up to other people, bring it to their attention. They usually kind of gaslight us or make us feel like we're overreacting, or it's not a big deal, or just really reinforcing to us that we should sort of ignore our intuition and ignore what we're feeling, and ignoring these sort of early warning signs that are there, because they're alerting us to that something's off, something's wrong. Hey, you should pay attention to this. And so this was my wake-up call that I need to better pay attention to what's going on. So yeah, it's really important that you guys notice this, because the violence and things like that are happening against women. It happens, a lot in romantic relationships and dating, but oftentimes it's, a lot of times, sometimes it's not even romantic relationships. These may be people that are trying to interact with you and you don't want to interact with them. They may be people that you see regularly or you come across. It may be someone that lives in your building or works in your office or lives in your neighborhood, and you take a certain route to go somewhere and you start noticing that you see this person all the time. It's not really meant to just get you all in hoopla, get you all up in arms, but it's really there to just get your attention and to make you pay attention when you start to notice things, maybe like patterns or things seem a little off, or you start to feel a little uncomfortable, to just pay attention to that and make a mental note of that, either mentally or literally just write it down somewhere. And so when other incidents happen that are maybe a little bit more, significant or a bit more in your face, you kind of have this precursor of events that happen before that, and you can kind of either, be prepared in some way. Because, if it's a warning, it's a chance for you to prepare yourself to act accordingly if something else happens later on. So it's kind of like to heed that warning and don't ignore it, and to sort of just be kind of aware of there's something that's a little off that's going on or that's been going on, so that you can be a little bit more aware moving forward. But yeah, it's crazy out here, being in any city, any large metropolitan city. These are crimes that are going on. It's not just, it's not even just large cities, but any places where I would say like women are interacting with men who may have romantic intentions and may not understand rejection, or maybe trying to read more into your interaction with them than it's actually there. Or it's the delivery guy who's like lingering around the door, like waiting for, I don't know, a conversation started, an icebreaker, but it's like, I don't want to talk to you. This is creepy. Like, what do you, we're not friends. I'm not looking for friends in my delivery guys. It's not a rom-com. It's not, this isn't Hollywood. This isn't a movie. It's just weird. It's weird. So I'm going to reevaluate what's going on and see and decide if it's something that I should bring to other people's attention. Because, even though I'm telling this is a warning to, other women I know or other people who know women and that care about their safety, this is something I still struggle with as well, because I'm like, well, I bring this up to the company, are they going to ignore me? Are they going to take it seriously? Or is this guy going to retaliate against me because he delivers packages to my building? So he knows where I live. He knows the code to the gate. So, but yeah, that's something that I'm concerned about. So I'm also, I think I should redo some of the, not redo, but sort of re-present some of the presentations I had on dating and safety. And I've made some little tweaks and some little updates to it. So I feel like it's time to maybe update that to like the newer version with the little details that I've added. So to represent that again, I know last time I did it to presented it with close friends. I'm thinking maybe making it public. I don't know, because in my experience online, when it comes to women creating groups or advice or something that puts women first and women's safety at the forefront, receives a lot of backlash from people, especially men. So I've been a bit hesitant to sort of go all the way public with that, just because of my experience interacting with people online. And I find that people are a lot more rude, a lot more nastier online, and they really don't. And I want to say that's even some women too. that really don't like women-centered or women-first advice in regards to safety, because it's putting women first and not putting men at the forefront of the decision. And a lot of the safety tips, a lot of the advice is going to kick a lot of men out of the dating pool, because a lot of their dating practices, a lot of their quote unquote courting or how they interact with women, a lot of it's toxic, a lot of it's dangerous, and a lot of it's unsafe. I've tried to venture back into dating, online dating, and you know, a lot of people are offended. They feel like offended if you are not sharing your phone number with them right away, or if there's anything that you want to keep private. Like I went out on dates before where a guy asked to go, "Oh, can I drop you off at your house?" And I'm like, "No, you can't. I don't want you to know where I live." You know what I mean? Like, I've done that. I don't recommend that women have men pick them up or drop them off at their house. Like, I don't. Like, I've done it in situations in the past, and I felt very scared and very unsafe, and I was like, why did I do that? So I don't recommend you do that. But some guys will feel offended, because a lot of what will get them what they want, whether it's sex, whether it's your time, or the sort of false intimacy, all of that requires women to let their guard down and to put themselves in unsafe positions. So if they're trying to get, sex, and they're like, "Let me drop you off at home," there, there are certain segments of the male population who are not concerned about your safety and you getting home safely. They are trying to hope that you invite them in, and you can like make out on the doorstep and get you riled up or something. They'll invite you in, and they can, come into your world or whatever, literally and figuratively. But, and so that level of access that a lot of men are hoping to get to women and women's bodies requires women to let their guard down and put themselves in unsafe situations majority of the time before they're comfortable, before they're even ready to do so. So I think that is a lot of why the uproar is about women sort of advocating for their safety, and women putting themselves first when it comes to dating safety, because it limits a lot of men's access to women. So that backlash is sort of this anger from some men realizing that they're not going to have access to women in the same way they did in the past. So I'm considering it, making it a public thing. But I've also been, am I ready for this sort of kind of backlash of people that don't want women to do this, and disguising it as whatever, but in reality, I just feel like the majority of it is people being upset that their access to women is being limited, and that they're going to have to take no for an answer, and that they're going to have to realize that this sort of false intimacy, this sort of fake closeness that they're trying to achieve by sort of speeding along this dating process and sort of getting into women's lives and having access to women quicker and faster, it's not, no one wants to do it anymore. It's unsafe. Like I said, the crimes against women what's going on is very highly visible now because of the age that we're in. And so we see and hear a lot more what's going on. And we need to realize that a lot of this stuff that we're doing to appeasement and to give them access is it's putting us at risk, and it's not good. It's happening in many, many different forms. My phone is dying. So yeah, it's happening in many different forms, but just be safe out here in these streets. And I'll probably post. I know Thanksgiving is coming up and Christmas is coming up, so maybe I'll do it either before Thanksgiving or it'll be after the New Year when I do a new presentation again on dating safety. Boundaries is really good. So I've 3 presentations that I've created. One is on how to create deal breakers, all about deal breakers, red flags. The other one is about vetting, doing background checks. And the third one is about boundaries and establishing boundaries. What are boundaries? All about that. So I felt like those 3 are the most important, and to sort of really work and tweak that and try to spread those presentations around. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. I'll definitely post it on Facebook, and it's gonna be like a Facebook Live that I'm gonna do. So